The SP404 is an amazing sampler, and after 3 major updates, Roland's added some pretty awesome features like the sound generator for creating synths, looper for live looping, and the TR rec mode, but even the best gear has room for improvement. And in today's video, I want to go over 5 missing features that I think would make the SP404 a near perfect sampler. Let's get into it. First up is something I don't see mentioned a lot, and that's multi-track audio over USB. The SP has a lot of USB capabilities, it's awesome, but you can only get a stereo 2-track out of the SP404. The Electron Digitac has 8 channels of sample tracks. All 8 of those, if you send the audio over USB, can be their own individual track in the DAW, and then any incoming audio becomes a 9th track. This is huge for mixing DAWless jams. Now I do realize it's a bit of a strange comparison because the SP404 has way more sample pads than the Digitac does, and I completely get that. And a bit of a compromise that I think would be awesome still is having each of the bus effects be a separate out. Now again, this might not be possible with the given hardware of the SP404. I'm not sure, that's a bit beyond me though. But this is something I think would be awesome to see, if not on the Mark II, then if there is some sort of Mark III or something like that, the next generation of Roland samplers. We have 2 main bus effects. We also have bus 3 and 4. And then we also do have a 5th bus effect in the form of the input effect. So I would love to see at least input effect and bus 1 and 2 be their own respective audio channels, and then maybe bus 3 and 4 could go together or something like that. You would lose some of the cool mastering effects of bus 3 and 4, but I think it would be just another option. You can kind of do this by stem splitting the jams you make on the SP within a DAW, like I've done that in Logic, and you can check out more on that up here. But this would be far better control right from the source and without all the artifacting that stem separation can add. Next up is per pad filters. We're gonna have a bit of a recurring theme going on because a lot of these features were added to the Roland P6 right out of the box. So these per pad filters can work as an EQ for each dedicated sample. So I have this guitar. If we were to have per pad filters, I could set a filter, right? And I'm gonna do it just using the bus effect. And I can put on a high pass filter and cut out a lot of that low end. And that would let the bass sit better. For the synth, maybe I want a low pass filter, but the way the SP filter and bus effects work, whatever filter I have on bus 1 is going to affect everything in bus 1. So I can't do a high pass filter on this one and a low pass filter on this one. It has to be the exact same. This means we can't do more granular mixing, but if we were to get per pad filters similar to the P6, we could definitely get more in-depth mixing without having to rely on a ton of resampling. And I totally understand there is a lot already on the SP404, so some or all of the things I'm going to talk about in this video may not even be possible. Should they be possible, they would definitely make the SP404 an incredibly powerful sampler. Next up is per step automation. So if we go into this pattern and go into TR rec mode by hitting shift record, as of right now, if I tap this and change anything, nothing's gonna happen. The only thing that happens is it gets undone, which is a massive bummer because on the P6, when you hold a pad, you can make changes to the pitch, velocity, substeps, and this is a feature that is completely missing on the SP404 and something that would make for massive benefits to the step sequencer. Up is a massive reverb. As someone that does a lot of ambient soundscapes, a massive reverb is something that is definitely missing here. You can kind of get away with it by doing a combo of SX reverb and Kodama, which is a really nice ping-ponging stereo delay. One other reverb that does work kind of well, a channel member actually mentioned this one, is Dado or Hadu. If you shut the mod depth to 0 or even like 1 or 2, and then up that time, you also get a very nice EQ on this, which is helpful. You can get a pretty good reverb And then if you add in that mod, it starts getting crazy. But at like 2, 3, even 4, you get a little bit of a kind of tape warble effect. That's the closest I can get between SX Reverb or Dado and combining those two, or Kodama, but it's still not quite that massive dronescapes. Finally, the last one is probably something you figured would be on this list, and that's sidechain compression. I think pretty much everyone has been asking for sidechain compression on the SP404 since it released. And yes, sidechain is incredibly useful for getting that ducking or pumping effect in music like EDM or even some lo-fi. But more than that, sidechain is an incredible mixing tool for getting a little more balance between the different aspects of your low end. So being able to let the kick and the bass sit together a bit better, because the bass ducks just slightly under the kick compared to that massive pumping effect that you would get in something like a house track. You could do something where it could be a bus effect, which yeah, would limit some performance effects, but that could be something that could work. Alright, so those are the 5 features that the SP404 still needs to be perfect, in my opinion. What do you think? Are these must-haves? Is there something else you're waiting for? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to make the most out of the SP404, you can check out my easy-to-reference cheat sheet, which has everything you need to know to get started and to do advanced features on the SP404. The link is in the description. And if you want to see my latest workflow for making beats just on the SP404, check out this video next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.